guys, round 3, and this is the one you've all been waiting for. The one that we've been waiting for as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We've been keeping an eye on Jack Canavan's Cat 8 list. It is a really interesting list. We've been trying to keep it under wraps just because we do want it to be a nice surprise for you guys.
Yeah, and exactly. And he will be going up against Sam G, who will be running the Bartz list. So,
that's right. He's taken the last few locals with this, so he definitely knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly, and they are very interesting lists as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
50 forwards for Jack Canavan, no
who
backups.
Needs backups? Yeah. Who needs summons? It's all the forwards are the ones that deal damage. Just stick with that.
Yeah, exactly. And then on the other side, obviously, we have got the typical Warrior Lights. We have got a total of 4 Bartz going in this list.
I mean that's quite light, but you do want to run other cards, I suppose. I mean. Interesting to see how well this number is. Okay, we're opening straight into a Sarah FFL. I mean, that's probably going to be 2 cards right there. 2 Bartz, I should say. Yeah, light and the namesake.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope, good, nailed it. Not the right one. So.
Okay, so Jack coming in now. Obviously, with 50 forwards, Jack is playing quite the aggressive deck. I think, he's just going to have to go straight out the gate and try and shut down Sam before he can build up any semblance of a board.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of want to get rid of these bats real quickly. Now, looking at Sam's list, he doesn't seem to have he does run 1 Shantato in his LB deck.
Okay.
But Jack can recover real quickly from any sort of board wipes, which is what's crazy.
So we're going to open up with an Adia. I assume going into Laguna. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Now this is a bit of an old school Laguna, right?
I want to say Opus 6 Laguna. So I mean, it's
that one. Yeah, that's old school 4K. Search for a card named Squall. Seems pretty good to me. But kind of a slow start for Jack. He was explained to me he can usually go to 3 forwards usually by turn 1, but looks like it just wasn't in the cards this time.
Right. I mean, Jack has had a lot of practice this week, a lot of late night octagon sessions, just trying to hammer out all the little dents and whatnot to just try and get this as optimized as possible. And yeah, we go into Bartz now on Sam's side. We are going to do the S effect for 4, sure. Okay, and it looks like we're either going to be going into a Kryl. That's fair. We get another Bartz back. I mean, nothing wrong with that line of play whatsoever. You are just adding backups from your deck and getting your next Bartz play online.
Yeah, really smooth here from Sam, as is expected, because again he is always on these sort of really nice curve plays. Now, can Jack put on some pressure and try and slow that roll down?
So, just having a quick glance at Jack's hand here, I can see an Alcid, Selfie.
Is that a rug in there as well on the far right?
I believe there is a rug in the deck, just to...
I'm very shocked he's not going Rug Rufus here. I think he's going in on the Cat 8 stuff, but I think I might have kind of tried to pave the way with Rug Rufus first.
So, I mean, just serious advantage going on now.
I mean, in theory, you can still play the Rogue here and get multiple attacks in. Quistis could be massive as well.
Quistis is huge, yeah.
Problem is you've got to select the Bass, but it doesn't look like he's got the Warrior Lights in the bin to be able to protect it. So
that's right. I mean, now would be a good time to do that effect. But I mean, of course, Sam can still just use the Bartz S effect, even if it's dull and frozen.
Yeah.
So,
but in theory, though, if we can get the Quistis out now, but he can't because he's got the Rug in hand. But if he could, you're protected from a Shantato next turn.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be if it were possible to play a Quistis, you should. But,
so it looks like we're going into combat. Selfie going to give some haste. A deer going in first, though.
Damage 1, Sarah FFL. Sam quite happy to see a redundant name backup. Oh, and a Tyro EX.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see if you're on Jack's side of the board, but again, this could help Sam ramp real quickly and start getting his Warrior Lights online.
So both players going into this game 2-0 at the moment as well. So they've both been working really hard to get to where they are. We're just about on the halfway point of our pre-top cut games.
Exactly that. Now he's gone with an Une off of that. That's an interesting one.
Okay.
He can play it for 4 because
Yep.
obviously he does have the summons in break.
That's right.
So that selfie though is an interesting one because if Sam doesn't deal with it, it's going to keep continuing to give the haste and the brave. But now, I think now we're thinking, let's get rid of that bat.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the walls in the break zone to do it. I think that's a great idea there by Jack. Really well played.
Yeah.
Because now he may have slowed down Sam just enough and is kind of punishing not getting another bat off of that Tyro, right?
That's right, yeah. I mean, we saw an Amaterasu just go into Sam's hands, but unfortunately with no fire CP, oh, Shantato.
Yeah, you'd expect it.
Yeah, now's the time. Okay, so...
But you got Rug in hand. It's a shame you didn't keep that Rufus from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would have been huge.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay,
is that a deer? Not a deer.
Ultimisia.
Ultimisia,
Adia, Ultimisia, and Rug.
Yeah.
I mean, you either just do nothing and build up hand size, or you really... I suppose Rug would probably be the only valid play right now. Yeah, we're just going to pass.
I think, in theory, that keeping those in hand might be good for the long game, but...
Let's see what's going on here. So we saw a Zidane get drawn. So it's not quite ready to come out yet, not without some excessive overpaying.
Yeah, he does have that Amaterasu in hand, but now that Amaterasu is live. And the thing is, in theory, it could be pretty impactful as well. Again, I think I would have been inclined to play the Rug the last turn, really step on that pressure. I think you can lose the Ultimisia, because strangely enough with Jack's deck, it has a ton of recursion.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how quickly it can get back up from a board wipe and continue. So yeah, we're just going to go into Leo this turn. Spinning the Shantar though.
Yeah, get a draw on a blocker. Again, now that Jack is back on the play, can he go off with this? He does hit Zeromus.
Zeromus and Selfie.
But he cannot play
Both.
either without binning a good portion of his hand here.
So let's see what Jack decides to do here. I mean, maybe there's a line of play where you Selfie into something else.
Well, he can't play the Selfie though, right?
No fire CP? No?
It
Okay.
doesn't look like it.
Yeah, so it looks like we've gone Rug.
See, and that's, again, I think he's discarded the same 2 cards that he would have done, and I think that he should have done that in the previous turn, and he would have been 1 point ahead already. And again, I know he got rid of that Rufus earlier as well. I think I would have been inclined to sort of maybe soften up Sam a little bit with that combination first.
Mm-hmm.
But again, showing off what Cat 8 can do, go super wide, was pretty impactful, but Toto said no.
Shan Noto, apparently.
The puns are coming out early.
Because I'm not allowed to swear, okay?
Well, I mean, you can. I won't be the one that yells at you, though. It'll definitely be Mr. McAvoy. Yeah, Steve, I agree there. Thinking about how aggroing the bats, and I do think, again, that Jack could have had that option, but just didn't take it. And I think he might be kicking himself slightly for that now. Very shocked that Sam didn't sort of chump block with the Leo.
Yeah, I mean, if in doubt, you chump block with the Leo, just and then get another one and draw more cards. Just get closer to the things you want in hand.
Yeah, exactly. But he's sat on damage 3 though, Jack on absolutely none. So in theory, Jack could take a couple of turns here, build up hand strength again, and then really go off.
Okay, so we are going into Bartholomew. Not Bartholomew. Because that is actually a card name. I'm going to go for here. There's currently no priority being passed, so until...
That's God, that one Steve actually got thing that I had to allow that comment because they thought it was some sort of inappropriate comment almost, but I'm going to allow it because it's funny.
Yep.
So, following up though, after the Leo there from the previous turn, Sam now going with Bartz into a Faris.
And Faris doing the search as well. That ever elusive damage 3. Oh, and look, there's a Bartz S ready to go.
Yeah, exactly that. Now Faris won't have the ability to be able to kill the Rug this turn, but subsequent turns perhaps.
That's right. It's very.
Or we'll be going.
So yeah, we're going to be doing Bartz for 2 CP.
Oh, so it looks like we are.
3 CP. I do stand corrected.
Yeah, so we are absolutely going to be able to kill off this Rug now. And Refio is also going to be live. So no effect yet, because the Faris will need to attack. But we're just going to dole the 4 instead. Refio being hugely impactful.
As a Rug put to the top of the deck and then dealt with succinctly.
Yeah.
I think Jack's a bit relieved, to be honest, because with so few cards in hand, you don't want to see lights or darks, really. You need every potential option available to you.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the problem there, Paul, as well. Sadly, he couldn't have played the Quistis because he did have the Rug in hand.
That's right.
So, sadly, that was out of the question.
Yeah, I think Steve's hit the nail on the head here. It's very much impossible for Jack to get back from this. I mean, maybe we push for more damage just for the sake of tiebreakers, but it is looking quite desperate for him.
It's quite a shame as well, because we know that this has tested quite well against sort of Bartz walls before, but I think that Sam just had the right answers at the right time.
Oh!
God, the pun game is strong today, lads. Bring it on. I love it.
Pulling the Rug from under him, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised as someone who's played Rug for a long time, I didn't think of that at all. Hats off to you, sir.
So we're going to attempt to break the Refia, but we are going to get rid of it first from the cloud. But the Refia does go.
Refia does go. But on stack, we are just going to put that right back to where it needs to be.
Yeah, this LB cloud being massively impactful in quite a lot of games so far. But there we go. Sam looking like he's just going to make sure his bats are separate.
So we're doing the Bartz from the break zone effect here, just to mill a few cards at the end of turn, draw closer into a few more answers.
Yeah, I think that Jack can quite comfortably take a bit of damage here, but Sam also has to be awfully careful because we do know that Cat 8 can go pretty wide and get quite a bit of haste. So. Though, gonna see if we can get back to a Refio would be my guess, and there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
it's Refia.
I think now this is quite clearly under Sam's control because that Refio being massive, gonna get to reactivate the backups into combat, and we have the tap effect whenever we bloody well want it.
Yeah, it's all looking quite good for Sam now. Sam needs to be a bit careful. If he does too many things, Jack might be able to push a turn with a few more damage.
Yeah, and I think really the only real misplay from Jack has been maybe not playing the Rug Rufus combination early, or just playing the Rug a turn too late, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this, hindsight is always 20/20, and there's a lot of pressure coming into games like this. Especially when you're 2 wins up already, knowing that you are getting ever closer to that elusive top cup.
Yeah. Now, Jack, they're contemplating a Zeromus, and it is a nice idea, but it's going to get removed immediately, and when it gets around to Sam's combat, he's just going to be able to reactivate when that Ref is there.
I mean, it's 4 active Warriors of Light waiting to go. I mean, it's not looking great here.
Nothing that you put down here, Jack, I think is going to survive a turn. It is unfortunate, but I think he just needed to apply that just a bit more pressure to keep Bartz from going off.
So Jack electing to pass turn?
I don't think he's passing turn here. I think he's still trying to map out things. and I just don't see the way out for them, unfortunately. His LB deck is pretty much spent, and I think Sam is just waiting for where he can just take the victory.
Right, so we go Adia, search something.
I'm guessing the Jack here is attempting to do the power reduction effect, probably.
Again, unfortunately, it is a little too late.
It is a shame because I was really hoping this deck was going to go off for us.
On a local level, it has been dazzling quite a few people and keeps things going.
Yeah.
It's surprising how well a deck with no backups can just keep ramping up their hand and putting more and more answers down before you can keep up.
Yeah, it is crazy to see Bartz keeping up with all of that pace, but...
That's right,
Yeah.
No, Jack.
So we have to do it in response because it's in your turn. Yeah, I think... Is that maybe a mistake from Sam there? Because he could have just passed turn and then Adia doesn't do anything, right?
Well, yes, but I think he's just forcing the issue now. Sort of playing with his food a little bit, but it's now a very clear board state. Unless any X from Jack's side comes up, this is game.
Yeah, but Jack attempted to pass, and I just generally think we could have got out of that with the Refia still intact.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Sam needed to do anything there. I think he could have quite easily have just passed turn and let it resolve. But Sam, not taking any chances, going to hit the Mist Dragon, going to remove that break zone. And here we go. There it is, and that is it. That is an unfortunate loss for Jack there, but this only his first of the day.
That's right, he has performed excellently. I think he was the first person to submit his positive win scores for the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
So it was very quickly decided either way. Looking at about 13 minutes left on the clock. So we do have time to have a chat to Sam, let him know his thoughts on Bartz.
Yeah, exactly that. So guys, we will be right back. We will get Sam over and we'll have a chat.
Ready.
And your winner of round 3, Sam Griffiths himself, playing Bartz there. Seemed pretty smooth for you.
Yeah, I've been playing the deck a lot recently. I feel like it's a deck that rewards you knowing how the play styles, where you can do work, because the perfect game allows you to get to 5 backups, but you need to know in the situations what decks you can't do that up against, what you need to go all in on, what you can aggro onto, what you do at 3 damage, which is an important sort of break point of the deck.
Absolutely.
This list of yours is actually running only 4 Bartz, right?
Yeah.
In this one. Lower amounts than we would normally have seen. Is that just because of what you saw with the list from Materia Cup, or is it something you were toying with anyway?
So when I first started, I started with an initial meme deck that someone made, which was just 10 Bartz. Just all Bartz all the time, and everything in the deck named Warrior Die. And that's fine, but those Bartz cards are awful. They are all terrible, and you don't want to draw them at any point. Mm-hmm. So then I saw some of them. Well, I didn't particularly like the Materia Cup lists I saw in Italy. They went more for the 5-colour backup. I thought, okay, well, we'll try that. But then I found that Refia wasn't doing enough. That was always the problem with the old Warrior Light decks, was if Refia's not attacking your backups, you are opening yourself so badly up to other things, and you just can never quite juggle the resources in the way you want to. So I built a halfway house, where I'm not actually running that many Warrior Light backups, only the ones with experts to the easily searchable ones. And I'm only running 4 Bartz because it's 3 of the good ones, and the light one is actually just a good card.
Yeah.
And when you're also running 3 Sarah FFL, realistically, you have 7 copies of the cards.
Yeah.
And you want to empty them out your deck as soon as possible, because Bartz is just a ramp card to get your backups online. If he dies at that point, then that's fine. I'm not drawing dead for the rest of the game, I'm just drawing good cards for the rest of the game. Whereas before, if my 2-drop Bartz died, and I drew the 2 old legend 3-cost Bartz, I just can't do anything.
Yeah, they are just dead, useless cards.
Yeah, the game just doesn't do anything.
There was one, it's obviously elementary, you won the game, it doesn't really matter. You obviously opted to, in sort of the last couple of turns there, Refia the Adia, still in Jack's turn.
Yeah.
What was your thought process behind that? Because obviously you can only use its effect in his turn. So,
the game was won. It was basically the long short of it. I basically knew the game was over. The one card in my hand was a Mist Dragon, so I knew the next thing I was going to do was get rid of the break zone. I can only Refia once a turn. I was just thinking, under any circumstances, if I Refia here, he kills the Refia because he's kind of inclined to, because he has to. I'm stacking an Adia to the top, which means he's not X-bursting.
Yeah.
At that point, then, I'm untapping. I'm misdragging the break zone just to make sure there's no outs for X-bursts.
Yeah.
And at that point, I have 4 damage, unless he plays Odin, and I have to test with Jack, so I know that he doesn't. He doesn't have X-Bursts or anything that I particularly care about.
No
so
1 a.m. editions there.
No, well, it might have been, because obviously I wasn't there testing last night at 1 a.m, but on the other versions of the decks, he's always said he doesn't like the cards that have X-Burst on them. Because they're quite bad.
There's not a lot to choose from in Ice and Lightning.
No, there's like Odins and stuff like that, but he wants to be like a big aggro forward muddle. So I was fairly confident at that point that basically once I untapped with Refia with the backups and had stuff, I'm like, the game is over now. He can try and do things, but he can only cast 1 card a turn.
Sure.
And I can answer whatever card he plays.
Absolutely.
So pretty early on, you had Bartz, I think just your 2 backups out, and he happened to have Rug Rufus in hand. Would that have made any difference in the way that you would have played? How impactful would that have been against you, do you think?
So when he's tested, he doesn't like doing Rug Rufus. Just a personal taste, whether it's correct or not. And given that on turn 1 he couldn't do it because of the lack of ICP, as I found out post game. But in the initial build, my hand was a Toto. So my plan was always wait until it gets to a point that I can't deal with the board, then Toto.
Sure.
I'm also not as scared because I'm running lots of X-Bursts that matter. So I'm running Leviathan, I'm running all the X-Bursts that tend to matter in this matchup. And I want to go to 3 damage. Faris getting a card versus not getting a card, especially with a Bartz in play, is insane because you can stack the triggers as I did here. So you can Bartz for Faris, search the Bartz before the Faris damage trigger goes off, and then Bartz for the Refia. And it means that you get more damage. I didn't need it in this game because I was putting the rug to the top anyway to stick it in damage, but in a wider board, you can do a lot more. And if I had the time or inclination to do so with the Lunith backup, you can also give then Faris haste and go even further into the board wiping territory.
So any matchups now, because obviously you're 3-0, 2 games left, anything that you're particularly worried that you might come up against?
The reason I'm playing the deck today is because it has game against everything. I'm not saying it wins against everything. It's definitely not favoured against everything, because that would be an unfun deck to exist in the format. But I think at worst, you're like 40% against like the degenerate aggro decks. I do think probably Mono Ice is probably a really bad one. Mono Fire was bad against the original Bartz, because if your Bartz died, the game was over. This version doesn't care as much, and I also think Amaterasu Mist Dragons are the 2 of the best cards in the format at the moment. So I wanted a deck that could play both in some numbers. It's the reason I put 2 Unai in the deck, was because I couldn't think of another card to put in. I needed fixing, because I was finding sometimes I wasn't being able to get the cards, and I was finding Earth and Water a bit light sometimes. And if I can get to the point where I lock them, and I have an Amaterasu Mist Dragon, the game just ends. There's no deck that can come back from that in the current environment, but I would say a Wall 7 that strikes it lucky, because that just beats everything, and a Mono Ice deck that does Rufus Rug with then follow-up would be the 2 things I'm kind of the most worried about.
Well, that's not something that we've seen so far, but you never know with a room of 30-odd people.
I've played against Wall 7 already today.
Well, we have had one on stream, but they got absolutely shut down.
There's a couple in the room.
There's a couple in the room.
Well, all I can say then is congratulations on your win, and hopefully you'll continue on this this roller coaster win.
Hopefully we see you later for the top 8, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else though from you guys in the meantime?
Nothing further. You've covered it all beautifully as always.
Sure. Then guys, we're going to take a short break, just 5 minutes or so while we're waiting for the rounds to wrap up, and we'll be back with you.